Hi, so I'll be giving the talk on visual arts. So let's get right into it. So I'm Margarita Mapa. I'm 20 years old. I'm currently a junior at Parsons, technically rising junior, like incoming junior, but you know. And I'm in the illustration program. So I might not be able to answer like all your questions about like all the majors, especially pertaining to other schools, because that really depends. I would say like, right off the bat, I'd just say make sure to do your research for all the schools that you want to apply to, because they all have different requirements and they all have different expectations. So I just a heads up, I can't tell you everything that you need to know. It's less uniform than other strands, I guess. Like, I would say the application process is a bit of a mess when it comes to arts, so you should start early. So let's get right into it. So the biggest hurdle would probably be, where is the hello? Wow. Okay. So the biggest hurdle would probably be the portfolio. I remember as someone who was applying, I was like, wow, what's a portfolio? And I was really scared because I did not know the level of finish they expected from the pieces. So we're gonna get into that. First question, who should submit a portfolio? So generally, I'd say anyone pursuing a career in visual arts, because this will be viewed by working professionals, so it's important to show the best of your work. But I would say I'm not familiar with the application process for like traditional universities that have only optional portfolio submissions. But I'd say like if you're taking a visual arts course, I think you should take advantage of submitting your portfolio, because whether it's optional or required, it always gives them more insight as to who you are or how you think, that kind of stuff. So it also shows that you're kind of like confident if it's an optional thing. If you go out of your way to show what you have, it's always a better option. So something to remember is that you're applying as a student, not a professional. No need to be perfect, just do your best. So I would say this college application type of portfolio should, rather than like looking extremely good, I would say just try to give them an idea of your body of work at the current moment in time. You know what I mean? Like it's like you want to give them a good idea of what you're capable of, what you like making, issues that you care about, that kind of stuff. It's like you want them to be familiar with you, because you're there to get better. You don't have to be like the best right from the start. Okay? So just don't be too hard on yourself. That's what I'm trying to say. Wait. Okay, yeah. So the portfolio in college application terms usually encompasses the required portfolio and a school-specific art challenge. And I would say, okay, let me talk about this in depth because it's kind of complicated. So the required portfolio is a number of pieces that represent your body of work. Ideally, you'd have at least 12 pieces to fall back on. At least. The more the merrier. And this is where you show your range or variety, and you can be flexible here. And honestly, I'd say don't be afraid to include unfinished work. like if you have like observational sketches or like doodles that you really like how they look but they're not finished, I'd say don't be afraid to add that in. Unless there's like a limit to pieces that you can submit. But a bunch of the colleges don't put that much of a cap on it. Plus, you just finished high school. They don't expect you to have like a wide body of work, okay? So they don't expect that you have 12 beautiful finished pieces, paintings, sculptures, that kind of stuff. You can have a bunch, I mean, sure, but you don't have to have 100% finished pieces. You know what I mean? Okay, so the school specific art challenge. Okay, so if you have an older sibling that wrote very long essays per college that they applied to, this is probably our version. So this is where you make the school feel special, and then this is where you respond to prompts given by the schools. So some schools actually don't have the art challenge, but I know schools like RISD, Parsons had, but Parsons was a bit more like lenient. You could kind of like fit one of your pieces into it and pass it off as something made for the prompt. I mean, I did that, but some schools you can't get away with that as easily, like RISD. I remember when I was doing my research for my applications, I looked online and I checked what their challenge was, and they had two options. The first was to make a tool and to make an artwork using that tool. And then the other option was to draw a bike using whatever medium. So I don't know. I was not very into that challenge. Plus, I just felt like RISD wasn't for me, so I ended up not doing that. Plus, different schools really do have different requirements. I think RISD has like they have like high standards for like grades, test scores. I think it's required in RISD. But for other schools, honestly, they don't even care about your test scores. Sometimes they just want you to submit it to prove that you're fluent in English. Yeah. Anyway, so the way you respond to prompts gives them an idea of like how you think, in a sense. So they test your thought process or how you deal with a prompt. So in my major, at least, they give us a lot of prompts, and then they you know, give us certain requirements like, oh, you have to use this medium and then this prompt. So the thing about being able to approach a prompt is it kind of shows the different subject matter that you're able to like tackle, or the different concepts that you can deal with. This is just where you should be creative. I mean, like, you can do all your flexing in like the required portfolio, but you should show how conceptually strong you are in the art challenge. Yeah. Because if you make a boring art challenge, then, you know, it's kind of sad that you can't respond to a prompt. You know what I mean? And then, there in the bottom, let me move my head. There may be a required artist statement, and I would say not to sweat that too much, because some schools will say they want an artist statement, other schools will say they want an essay. It's pretty vague, but we'll talk about the artist statement later. Anyway, let me move my head back. So What makes a strong portfolio and other common questions? Let me move my head again. So how important is having interesting or original concepts, variety of media, variety of subjects, and technical ability and cohesiveness? So I would say it depends. I know that answer sucks. It really does. But you can't have all these things in the sense that, like, it's so early in your career. I would just say, okay, if you have interesting original concepts but you don't have a wide variety of media that you're like familiar with, it's fine. It's fine. Just show what you have. You know, you don't have to push yourself to be like so well-rounded because you only had so much exposure. I mean, like, I came into college thinking that I was the worst because I only knew like ink and like pencil. I don't know. It was just like super basic stuff. So I thought I was the worst. Okay. But as freshman year went on, I was like, okay, I'm not that bad. Like, you know, I slowly became more and more confident in myself and my work. And yeah, it's just what you're lacking, you kind of like acquire it in college anyway. So it's not like they're requiring you to have all these things, you know? So again, I would say if you have like a variety of like subject matter and like different concepts and different media, it's hard to make your portfolio cohesive. And it's not like they expect you to be like super technically like skilled. A lot of people in my major, at least, they draw kind of funny. You didn't hear that from me, but it's like not everyone will be technically strong, but usually they are very conceptually strong. So when you lack something, you should try to compensate with another. I mean, if you don't have any of these, then good luck, but like, I'm sure there's a reason why you're applying. You probably have like a lot of ideas, you're creative, or you're really like technically skilled. It's like, flaunt what you have. I would just say the scariest thing is being a one-trick pony and only having like a handful of like subject matter or like concepts and like not a lot of experience with other types of media. Then I would say you're kind of, you know, you should venture out more into like the other types of mediums, other concepts, subject matter. I would say like making your portfolio is a good time to experiment and test yourself, try new things, because you're trying to convince a school that you want to learn from them. So I think the portfolio is a good opportunity to show that you want to learn something. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but you have to look a bit experimental, like in the sense that you want to try new things. So, cohesiveness, as I said, you're trying to show variety, flexibility. I'd say out of all those things, cohesiveness doesn't matter that much. As long as it relates to you, it's cohesive enough. If it gives them an idea of how you are as a person or as a student. Do you need figure drawings? No. Because you're gonna do that in college. You're gonna do it anyway. You don't need to have it already. I remember, sorry, I keep telling stories, but like, I remember in freshman year, on my first day of college ever, I didn't even remember everyone's names. My professor just like introduced himself, and then a girl stood up, and I was like, ooh, like, you know, is she gonna like introduce herself or show some work? She took off her clothes, and then my professor was like, okay, 30-second sketches for 20 minutes. We're gonna do gesture drawings with charcoal. And I was like, oh my god, I've never used charcoal. I've never seen a naked person in a classroom like this. Like, I was freaking out. That's art school. You'll be quick to adapt, you know, but I was just very overwhelmed. So I'm just gonna say, if you don't have access to like those kinds of stuff, you don't have to do it, you know. I don't know where to have a nude model in the Philippines, so it's like, but a good basic to have in your portfolio is a nice observational thing. It's not required, but it's always good to show that you have like observational skills. I mean, it's a basic, but it's also very telling of your style. It's like how you absorb information from life and how it manifests in your style. You may think you don't have a style, but I guarantee you everyone already has a style. I just think no one should start limiting themselves to a style this early in their career. Even I don't want to do that just yet. I've had many professors tell me, don't limit yourself to a style. You're too young for that. And it's like, I think it's true. Because a lot of people kind of find their thing like late in college, after college, or way later in their career, honestly. So, moving on. How many pieces did you submit, or how many do I need? So, as I said, it depends, because schools will ask for different numbers of pieces. I'd say a good number to have is at least 12, and the more the merrier. Just so you can like shuffle them around for different like schools. I think you don't want to submit the same stuff all the time, just because you'll get sick of it, just because like some schools have different requirements. Like when I was first inquiring for college, I thought I wanted to do architecture, so I was asking schools like SVA, whatever, Pratt. And I think Pratt said they don't need like a... Parsons said this too, I think. I don't know. They said they don't need like a major specific portfolio. So just submit what you have, basically. Just submit what you would submit. And then when I inquired with SVA, I said, oh, like, you know, what do you expect from the portfolio? And they were like, oh, I don't think they have like a architecture program, but I think they had an interior design program. And what they required was an interior design specific like portfolio. So your works should kind of be catered to that. So they're expecting like drafting, stuff like that. So no. I mean, if that's your thing, go ahead. But just do your research per school, because different schools will ask for different stuff. So if you have major specific portfolio and then a general portfolio, it just helps to have more stuff just for you, you know. Quality, quantity, or both. I would say, why do you have to choose? You know, you're not a printer, you're not trying to make quantity, and it's kind of redundant to have a lot of ugly work, because what's the point? So it's like, oh, you're prolific, but it's kind of like ugly. So it doesn't prove anything, because anyone can make stuff fast. You're not trying to make a lot of stuff. You're trying to make strong work. As I said, not everything has to be that formal. So I would say quality over quantity, but still try to have a lot of nice stuff. That's the thing. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't give up like quantity for like one good piece, and then you won't even hit the required number, you know? It's kind of like embarrassing that you're only applying with so many works. So I would say quality over quantity. Definitely. But at least hit the 12 minimum, you know? But also just try to like make as much as you can. Make as much as you can, but don't give up the quality. There's a balance. There's a balance. You don't have to be perfect because you're not applying as an employee. But you don't have to make so much because you're only so young. You're just applying to college, you know? So, yeah. Okay. In what order should I arrange my pieces? I would say that depends on you. That depends on your work. It's hard to say without seeing what your work looks like, or if you have a lot of finished pieces or like a lot of sketches. It's hard. But I would say start strong, finish strong. So it's a strong sandwich. Yeah. So I would say your best pieces in the start and the end. Meaning don't have one best piece. If you have one best piece, I would say do it in the start. Just so they get curious, and then in the end, if the quality is like decreasing, at least they'll be like, maybe it'll show up in the end. I don't know. It's just don't have one best piece. It's sad. You can have your favorite piece, but if you look at it like objectively, you know, what has good composition, what has nice colors or like good values or strong like technical like abilities, like stuff like that, you know. So what's objectively good, if you take it apart like elements wise, like does it follow the rule of thirds, blah blah blah. I mean, like they don't really think about that much. It's more of like a intuitive thing. But just try to have good things in the start and the end. Okay, because you can kind of fall flat in the middle, but like if you end on a good note, that's good. If you don't fall flat at all, that's great. But I don't know. Personally, I had a hard time liking everything I was submitting because I was rushing my application. So anyway, do different schools look for different things? Yes. Do your research, as I said. So moving on. Okay, so photography tips. Okay. I had a big problem with this, so I'm gonna show you do's and don'ts after this. Okay, so photography tips. You don't need a DSLR, but try to get the best quality, most HD pics you can get out of what you have, like your phone camera. But if your phone camera is very old and sad and grainy, you might want to borrow from someone who has a better phone camera, like mom or dad, or older sibling, or maybe younger sibling if they would have a better phone camera than you. I don't know. Or friend. It's actually good to get help from people when you're taking these photos, because like it gets kind of tricky because you want good lighting, and I'm gonna explain all of this in a second. So as much as possible, use natural lighting. I will show you what happens when you don't use natural lighting. Use cartulinas, bed sheets for DIY backgrounds. So you want like a plain background like this. Imagine there's no stuff on the side, so you know, so it doesn't distract from the viewer. What? It doesn't distract from, like, you know, the experience of the work. Oh, that sounds so... But yeah, anyway. Don't be afraid to edit the photos. Fix lighting using Lightroom, Photoshop. You can even flaunt your familiarity with the Adobe Suite. So, it's a plus to be familiar with the Adobe Suite. But when I applied, I was like, I only know, like, the basics of Photoshop, blah, blah, blah. But now I can operate like Adobe Premiere, Audition, what's the other one? Lightroom. I can do like Illustrator. I'm a pro. No, I'm not that much of a pro, but I do animation on Photoshop. I know how to use After Effects. It's like they teach you anyway, so you don't have to be a pro. But if you can practice those skills, or at least show that you know the basics with editing that's not over the top, that's great. Keep in mind the composition of your pieces, photographs. It goes a long way. I will show you why in a bit. So, to this side, the right, that's a piece from freshman year, and then to the left is from my pre-college application. So, this is natural light. This is not natural light. This is over my dining table with a yellow light over it. Okay, so, and a folded cartolina. That's why you see like a seam just running through the middle, just painfully. So, as you can see, it makes a big difference. And if you want to pick at it a bit more, you can see that the quality is not good. It does not do the hours that I put into my life into that piece any justice at all. It's so sad. So, as much as possible, take your pictures in the daytime. Don't do it at night, or don't wait till application day to take the photo. Yeah. So this is my advice for 3D work, especially. Try to get like an interesting angle. Yeah. Because I think from what I remember when I was submitting pictures of my 3D stuff, I was getting really like pissed off because you can only submit one photo. So you can't show all the details that you put into the work. So it gets kind of disappointing. So try to get like a nice dynamic photograph of your work. Okay. Alright, I'm covering the word. There, 3D. Okay, there. So, illustrations. Just use a scanner. Just use a scanner. Don't try to be smart with it. Don't use Cam Scanner. Cam Scanner is not good. As I said, use scanners for analog illustrations, not Cam Scanner. This is college app, not homework. I feel like I'm trying to speak to my past self. Cam Scanner versus Scanner. Look at that. I don't even have to say anything to explain this. There. Grainy and sad. Not only was the actual drawing grainy, but me editing it after scanning it, it just couldn't be saved. It looks so sad, you know? And I had to edit it to make it look better, but it didn't look good at all. Anyway, so that's a scanner thing. As much as possible, try to use a scanner. And try to like have a large file size. It's a pain, but a large file size will really help when you edit, because it doesn't kill some of the detail that you actually have in it. Okay, anyway, moving on. Okay, wait, it's not moving on. I have one more comment about this. Yeah, the colors just come to life more when it's scanned. None of these have color, so I can't prove that to you, but they really come out better, like if you scan it. And then you're allowed to edit these things on like Photoshop or Lightroom, as I said. I would recommend using the curves or the levels when you're editing on Photoshop. Yeah, you can experiment with that. I don't want to have to explain it. Anyway. Lighting makes a huge difference. You might want to take multiple shots of the same piece in different locations to help you decide. So, use white walls or black walls for paintings. I just taped this to the wall when I took the picture on the white wall. So they look like two different paintings, right? Well, to me at least, because the lighting in the rooms changed because the colors of the walls. So here, I'm just gonna read the text. Indirect natural light. Walls in the room were green, making the colors appear cooler. So that's the one on the left. Because my room's walls are green. It kind of bounced off, like the color bounced off. This sounds so like a unintelligent way of saying it, but like that's why the painting looks greener. It's because the room was green. Okay, basically. And then this one, that's the actual colors. So I think they both look good, but you know, just for vibes, just chose the one on the right. Yeah, so other do's and don'ts. Oh, let me move my hand again. Okay, so do include the pieces you love most. These will probably be your strongest pieces. Don't force yourself to produce work to make you appear well-rounded. You know, as I said, don't force it, because you probably won't like it, because you don't know what you're doing. You don't know. I don't know. It's just very impersonal when you try to do it like that. And when I looked at my Pratt submission, because my first option before was Pratt, as I said, because I wanted to do architecture, so I was like, oh, Pratt. And then I did not get in. Like, that was the one school I didn't get into, like among the ones I applied to, because I tried so hard to appear a certain way. I was trying to be like, oh, well-rounded, blah, blah, blah. Didn't work out like that, because I kind of hated my stuff. Because I was trying to prove something, but I didn't even believe in what I was doing, or I didn't even like it. I think art is very closely tied to confidence, so you just have to believe in what you're making. Even if people don't like it, just believe in it, because that's the first step to making other people love it too. Okay, so do take good photos and try to present your work as professionally as possible. Try. Please try. If you don't know what to do, you can go to like artists' IGs and see how they photograph their work, or you can just go to some portfolio websites and look at their work, and you can take inspiration from that. But I'd say just be like straightforward and try to have good quality, try to be efficient with your photos, stuff like that. And be original, please. Please, please be original. You will suffer the consequences of not being original. You can get kicked out of school for, you know, plagiarism. That's a thing even in high school. Why are you gonna try it in college, right? So, plus it's art school. You will look so bad. And people here are so mean. Well, here in New York at least. So, don't be a copycat. It's okay to be inspired by other people. It's okay to use similar color palettes. But when you have a similar color palette and a similar composition and a similar subject matter altogether, it's kind of... It's bad. Okay, so to the don'ts. As I said, don't plagiarize, don't be sloppy, like me, don't be sloppy. I mean, I got in, but just do better. You'll easily it'll easily save you so much, like, I don't know, you'll get like points. You'll get points for having like professional looking photos, or like at least looking like you care about your work, you know? So don't try to be someone you're not. I keep saying that. Don't force it, okay? Try to include things you like, not things that will super make you look good. I mean, try to include a couple stuff that make you look good, like, you know, like I said, like those observational drawings. But if you hate it, or you don't like it, or you don't have any, you don't have to, okay? Don't force yourself, because that's how you spiral. So don't make your portfolio based off what other people want from you. You don't need to follow every critique or suggestion. The portfolio is your body of work. So I would fight a lot with my dad when I was applying for college, because I think in his mind, he thought that like the approach would be like I had to look perfect, and I had to have all these things like perfect, like good grades, good blah 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 blah, good scores, like extremely balanced like portfolio. You should make your subject matter like this, blah blah blah. You should look socially aware. It's like, yes, I'm socially aware, but I'm not gonna try to be like a just be you. I mean, like, he was so scared that I wouldn't get into college. Look who got merit. So just be honest. Just be you. Just, you know. Even in college, you'll have all these professionals, and you ask them for critique on the same piece. They'll all tell you different stuff, because they like different things about the work. They don't have the same opinions, you know? So it's just a matter of like knowing what you want to change about your work, stuff like that, how you want to be as an artist, stuff like that. You don't have to listen to everyone, because when you become a crowd pleaser, you're just the echo of the void. You don't have your own voice. Okay, so moving on. This doesn't work. Okay, so the artist's statement. I honestly don't have that much to say about it, because I couldn't even find my old one. But even at present, I don't think I've seen very good artist statements that made me go, wow, I want to look at their work. Because, you know, you'll never know until you look at the work. And no one really has such a grabbing artist statement that it's like, let me go ahead to the portfolio. No, people look at the portfolio, and then the artist statement kind of explains why the subject matter is that way. You know what I mean? It's like a subtitle, or like an afterthought. Put your portfolio first, because the artist statement is kind of derived from the portfolio. Okay, so this is where you summarize the themes and mediums you're interested in. You should tie in your body of work with your identity and interests as succinctly as possible. Don't make it long and pretentious. It's embarrassing, okay? Just be short and sweet, like, oh, okay, like I have an interest in, like, you know, wait, you can be like, I have an interest in like class and race issues. That's why I always like try to, you know, touch upon blah blah blah, and I always do blah blah blah. I think mine was kind of like not it's just kind of scary. It's just like, oh, body issues, whatever. Yeah. Toxic environment, and then you'll understand why that was the case. Okay. So wow. Okay, artist statement, do's and don'ts. I don't have much to say to do, you know what I mean? Because like, it depends. Again, it depends on your portfolio. No one could tell you what to say in your artist statement. Okay, so do be straightforward. Do be honest. please. Okay? Don't force it. Don't try to be deep. Because the point is to explain your deep work. And then if you're gonna make it even harder to understand, then just don't have an artist statement if you're gonna make it worse. Don't think that you're cringe, okay? People don't know when they read it, okay? It's not like they know you personally. They won't be like, cringe. Like, it'll be cringe if you force it and make it deep, okay? It won't be cringe if you're just spitting facts, okay? Don't be afraid to talk about your process or your personal background if your work is deeply related to the kind of subject matter you use. I think that's pretty straightforward. So, moving on. How important... let me move my head. How important is the portfolio compared to the rest of the application? So, grades, tests, scores, extracurriculars, essays, etc. Okay, so I can only speak on pure art schools, as it says. I can't speak on traditional schools, but I'd say if it's a traditional school, you better get those grades up. And the test scores. So, from my experience, at least, the portfolio should be your highest priority, but you won't qualify if you don't at least pass the bare minimum. But the bare minimum varies per university. I don't think Parsons has a high bar when it comes to like test scores or grades. But like RISD or like Cooper Union, fix your grades and your scores. But like, I would say just try to get as high of a score or high grades as possible. You shouldn't be like, okay, this over this is more important. Like, yes, it is, but like, you shouldn't give something up just because the other is the priority. Okay? Still try your best. Okay? It's not good practice to like slack off. It's not good practice to get low grades. Okay? I mean, I don't have the highest grades in high school, but please don't fail. And don't aim for average. Aim to do your best. And then if you hit average, that's fine. Okay? Because you're dealing with other stuff also. It's fine. Okay? Yeah. Okay. So, you can get away with average scores and grades, but higher grades and scores guarantee a better chance at qualifying. I think that speaks for itself. Extracurriculars and essays are important right after the portfolio because it gives them an idea of your interests, how you work with other people, what you're passionate about, how you like operate a group, stuff like that. Okay, it gives them a good idea of how you work, and also like if you have portfolio pieces that are a result of like your extracurriculars, I can't say the word, it really helps, because I think one of my portfolio pieces was from like a student organization that I was part of that made children's books. I think that really helped. Your essay will be very helpful, I think, because they're trying to pick at your thought process and who you are as an artist and the kind of work you'll make. Okay? Not if you can do the maths to make the wood, you know? I'm so bad at explaining, but it's okay, okay? I'm speaking from my experience as an illustration student, okay? Like, I don't know how product design students really do it, but in my school at least, it's kind of, you fall under the same like application requirements. So yeah, there's always like a foundation year, well, most of the time, in freshman year, and they make you do a lot of random stuff, so be prepared for that. Final thoughts. Okay, So if you had to do your portfolio all over again, would you have done anything differently? I would have taken better photos. That's it, you know? The portfolio is a work in progress from the moment you make it until the end of your career. It's a visual resume, is what I would say. Because my portfolio is always changing. If I would have done anything differently, then I'll just do it, you know? Because it's like it's your repertoire. So, you know, everything you've made or that you are proud of, that's where you put it on display. So, I mean, yeah, I would do it differently, but I'm saying that as me now. It's not like I knew better before. So, I can show you my portfolio, my current portfolio. No, my old portfolio and then my current portfolio in a bit. So, yeah, let's move on. Wow. Okay, any last words of wisdom? I would say try to aim for a scholarship, because I think it's really hard to predict how expensive college or especially art school gets, because you'll have so many projects, but the thing is the school is not responsible for the kinds of materials or supplies that you use. So you should be mindful, because these things get expensive. And as I mentioned, foundation year, you do a lot of random stuff. You do woodworking, you do like painting, and use paint that you'll never use again. It's like you'll just end up buying so much and having so much stuff. I would say just try to get the scholarship, because these things get expensive. Like foundation year, you learn a lot of stuff. Okay, you pick up so many skills in so little time. But the thing is, yeah, you're literally paying the price, you know? Yeah, I wish I knew how expensive art supplies were. Like, I knew when I was making my portfolio, but it's like, whoa, you have to buy this much wood, or you have to buy this much acrylic paint every week. Oh my god. And then you look at the prices of brushes and you're like, oh my god. Plus, food here is expensive. So, last words of wisdom, I just say, think about the cost, okay? It's hard to dive in and apply and spend all this money tutoring or sending in applications, taking the tests, stuff like that. And then in the end, it's like, oh, you didn't think it through, and then you have you can't go. It's hard to make it that far and then to cut your plans short. I'd say think about the long run. Think about things like that. Especially at a time like now, you kind of want to be conscious of the costs. Yeah. Okay, thank you and good luck, but let's look at my old portfolio, okay? Okay, that's the new one. Okay, so old portfolio. This is what got me into college. I'm not that proud of it, but considering I was self-taught and I didn't know what the heck I was doing, they're not too shabby, but I can do better now. This is from 2016. It's a painting from acrylic, but the thing is, at that time I didn't know how to use brushes. So this is a finger painting. Yeah, I admitted that on my application. So I don't know if that's plus or minus points. This is the sad photograph. Okay, this is an ink piece. I drew this in CPK when I was waiting for some friends to show up. So I was drawing this. Now I know how to, if I had to draw it again, now I know how to do that better. But yeah, so a lot of my work in what I have right now, I think I don't have all my pieces right now, but like in what I have right now, I had a lot of ink stuff. And the reason for that is because I drew a lot in class. A lot of my portfolio stuff are doodles from class. So yeah, this. And that, not that proud. I was drawing it in Spanish. That, I was drawing that, I don't know when, but I was in class. Yeah, I have a lot of friends who've seen me draw in class, okay? A lot of my friends have seen these portfolio entries. I don't know when this is from. I just took a picture of a random page in a random sketchbook because I was like low on pieces. Gosh. Okay. This is from the student org I was in. So here I said that it was like a collaborative piece because I worked with someone else to make this book happen. So she designed like the concept or like the style, and then I made all the backgrounds and she made the characters. So, you know, I kind of spoke about my experience with working with other people, children's books, stuff like that. Okay, so this, my ugly like observational thing, I would say like if I had to use this one again, just crop it, like, you know, compositionally make it tighter, because this is so obviously a picture of a page using a phone, okay? This was like me trying to be like, I can use Photoshop. I would not use this again. But yeah. Oh yeah, if you do observational pieces, don't do observational from someone else's photograph. You know what I mean? Because their photograph actually counts as an entry. It counts as an artwork. So what you're doing is low-key plagiarism. If you're gonna do an observational thing, try to do it from life or your own photo, okay? Just to stay safe. This was me just drawing a shoe and making it cute, I guess. So this is another thing from class. I think this was from CLE class. This was oil pastel. So it's the first time I used first time I used oil pastel. I didn't know what I was doing. So I said that as well in the in the portfolio, because when you submit your portfolios, they have like these text box and they kind of expect you to at least have a brief explanation or at least like insights on the work. So I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what this is. Well, no, I didn't say that. So I don't know what I'm doing. It's just like an experimental thing, and I was tackling like, you know, I think it's pretty straightforward. And then this is what I used for the Parsons Challenge, but it was just a general portfolio piece. Because the Parsons Challenge, when I applied, was like, you know, like a social justice, I think, cause that's like close to you, and I spoke about EJK. So yeah, this is the first time I used air drying clay. There's a lot of firsts in this portfolio, actually. So, you know, don't be afraid to put your firsts there. This is my first. I didn't know what I was doing, but I did it. Yeah, so this might have been what got me into college. But I'd say I'm more proud of other things right now. So let's move on to the current portfolio. Okay, current portfolio. I don't know why there's a thumbnail for 3D. Don't look at it. So 2D. Okay, so it's not loading. Okay, so I have this. It was just a doodle. And I used them for like zines that we had to do in the illustration major in fall semester. So these are from, like, these sketches are from the Museum of Natural History there. And then, you know, just ended up photoshopping stuff, so it's like pop, but it hurts my eyes right now. So here I worked with the risograph, and I had group mates, and I had to use illustration Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator. Yeah. So this is me showing, you know, I can use Illustrator. I can use the risograph. Risograph is weird, but you know, I can use risograph. I can convert colors, stuff like that. So then here's me being like, I know how to use ink. This is what's that, like, it's a long boy. It's, how long was this piece? I think this is like 40 or 60. Whoa. Yeah, it must have been like 40 inches long and 11 inches tall. I don't know. I just know it was 11 tall and then long, because it was like a mural design. So the prompt was like family, so I made it about heritage and like living here, and you know. So yeah, I don't have to explain these things. I'm just showing you what my portfolio looks like at present. So this is the pineapple thing that I showed a while ago. Because it was like my version of like alamat ng piña. So I just used like stippling, hatching, stuff like that. And then this graphite thing, just to show that I, like, hey, I know weird perspectives, stuff like that. Most of these were just made like within the last year. So this, like, from what's that? From my, it's like a language and letter form class. So yeah. Then paintings. These are observational paintings. This is my younger brother's nose. This is my eye. This is my younger brother's eye, stuff like that. Then I put my old stuff in the bottom, just so you see how I improved, you know? Let's go here. I have 3D stuff because I took, because I like making sculptures, and I took like a ceramics class, so I have things to present there, but we won't go into that. I have animations tag. All of these I just made in like the spring semester. So this had stop motion, like green screening, stuff like that. This is like a they're all kind of ASMR-y, like the snacking and quarantine one. So if you want to see that, you can see that. I have a comics tab. Yeah. Okay, if the names look deep, probably because I was forced to name it. But this one was really like the one on the right with the bright colors, that one is like the prompt. So that wasn't me. Yeah. So comics, don't be afraid to show comics on your portfolio. It shows how you can like visually tell a narrative, honestly. I think one of my portfolio pieces before was actually like a comic, but I don't know why I don't have the photo right now, so sorry. But yeah, there we go. See? Yeah. So that's my current portfolio. So yeah, but the thing is, like, that's me after 2 years of college, okay? And I know it's not the best yet. And it'll never be the best, like the best version of me. So, you know, still getting there. You'll get there. Just try to be honest with yourself. Try to show work that you love. And try to try new things, you know? But yeah, if you need more advice or help, you can, like, contact me. Because I think the thing that makes applying for art difficult is that it's so case specific. It's a case-by-case thing. Because your background matters, your work matters, stuff like that. And like where you want to apply is also like very particular. So, you know, yeah, if you need help, you can contact me, or I can try to connect you with other people. But I guess my main takeaway from all of this is just be honest. just dive in and just, you know, yeah, just that. But yeah, thank you and good luck.